Have you ever felt stuck between your upbringing and your desires, not sure how to bridge the gap? Or maybe you've been trying to connect with women who seem out of your league and just end up turning them off? Well, if that's you, you'll want to tune into this week's episode of the Inner Confidence Podcast, where we're talking to a very special guest who grew up in a conservative Mormon community, but transformed into a party-loving, sexually liberated woman. She's diving deep into her journey of leaving the church, embracing her sexuality, and navigating the wild world of the EDM scene and rave parties. Plus, she's going to share her ick list, the things that guys do that instantly turn her off. You're listening to the Inner Confidence Podcast, home to the social funnel method. My name is Robbie Kramer. I've been a coach since 2007, and I've helped over 1,300 digital nomads, expats, and remote workers build an amazing social and dating life abroad. My mission is simple: to help you position yourself to meet stunning women and make awesome friends en route to becoming the most confident and attractive version you can be. I have an intense hatred for fluff and useless advice that you can't take action on, so tune in each week to learn the most effective and implementable strategies to level up your game. So stick around, let's go. So we're here with the fabulous Bailee, and Bailee is one of the only women I've ever met who can articulate social dynamics, hookup culture, the game, because most women don't view the way it is for a guy in a realistic way. And you actually come at it from a way where you really understand the guy's standpoint, and we can kind of get into why that is. And you're an amazing resource for helping guys understand how women work. And you've been helping me at our immersion events that we run. This is the second time. Yes. And the guys love you, and they're like, I learned so much from Bailee, and he's like, amazing wealth of knowledge. So, tell us your background. Like, how did you, the stuff about like the church and whatnot, and who's Bailee?
So I was born and raised in the Mormon church. I'm one of 6. So I have 2 older brothers that I feel like I've learned a lot from, being so close to them. But I did leave the church when I was a freshman in high school. So I was 14. So I feel like a lot of my perspective and dating experiences have been based off of what I learned in the church and what I learned as I've left the church and kind of found my voice as a woman after not feeling like I had that voice as a child. So I feel like it's really shaped the way that I see life as a single woman, and then what I would like as a woman who's not single in the future.
Yeah. What was that like, kind of breaking away from, the whole very much, because I don't know a ton about Mormonism. Mm-hmm. I had a bunch of friends growing up that lived in my neighborhood, and we'd all play like street hockey and basketball. And then basically when, I felt like I was like 14 or 15, they all moved to Salt Lake City, like 5 families and they all had, 5 or 6 kids. Yeah. So it was awesome. My neighborhood was like the best. And then just exodus.
They all left.
left.
My gosh.
And this was in, Huntington Beach, California.
Yeah, that's wild. I have a lot. Most of my family actually lives in Utah now, and it's called Springville. It's like outside of Provo. But just having that dynamic of being in the church, it was really great to leave when I felt that it was time. I was 14. So for that time, I was had my first exposure to like a best friend that wasn't in the church. Mm-hmm. So for the first time, I was noticing, I learned what alcohol was. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, this is alcohol. So that was pretty cool. And then honestly, she's like now my sister, all growing up. When I met her, it was like instant click, instant safety. And I just decided to pretty much go under their wing. They took me under their wing. And then I learned all the ways of how to leave the Mormon church. And then one day, so every single Sunday I had to go to church. Mm-hmm. Every single Sunday I had to go to church, had to wear the church clothes. You go to church with who you live by. It's very community based, and they want you to do soccer and do dance and do all these things with the people you lived by. And so Actually, I did this like really embarrassing thing called clogging.
Clogging.
It's like river dance meets tap, but it's like only Mormons do it. And I used to I did like competition. I was on the Star Step and Cloggers team. So I had to like go to Utah all the time and like clog, and I hated it. So finally, like I left clogging. My mom let me do cheer. I was like obsessed with the idea of being a cheerleader, and I was never allowed to. She just like always wanted me to do soccer with my Mormon friends, and then like clogging, which was like my sister's dream.
So this looks like clogging here, right? Appalachian clogging.
It's like tap with 2 metal taps. It's like Irish folk dance, but with like really intense tap shoes on. I actually have photos I'll give you.
Is this kind of what it is?
This is exactly what it is.
This is great.
And like their hands are wild. Like their hands should be behind their back.
So you could give these guys a lesson in clogging. This is great.
Yeah, what's going on? I'd be in trouble.
All right. Anyways.
So yeah, that was like a really like geeky Mormon thing that I did, that I was like forced to do, and I hated it. Like every dance recital, like I sucked because like I was like being defined.
And you were, what, how old?
I did it until I was in middle school.
Wow.
And then my mom let me do cheer, and then it was game over. And then I was like, I finally got into cheer. I finally got into gymnastics. I finally met friends that weren't Mormon. And so 7th grade was my first time I ever made a friend who wasn't Mormon. And she was the best because her mom and dad used to drink beer. And at first I would be like so uncomfortable. Like I'd go to her house and like kind of have the shakes because I'm like, her dad might as well be doing meth. Like I had no sense of like, he's allowed to have a course. Like it's all good. And then through that, which was in middle school, I decided I was going to go to a different high school than where all my friends were going. They all went to Rancho. I was going to go to Vista. And so then that's where I met my friend who is like forever my sister. Her family saved me, I feel like I look at her parents like angels because I finally got that like support that I needed to leave the church. Her dad and mom would drive me. They would pay for everything. They would drive me places. They would drive me in naughty places, take me on family vacations. My little sister and cousins would sleep at their house. Like it was like they turned into my family. And so then, of course, my mom and dad were like, wait, you're our daughter. Like, we want you home. But I was like, I'm not going to church. Absolutely not. Like, I don't believe in this. I'm not dressing this way. I had been bullied so bad because of the church. So I was just like wanting to not associate with anything that had to do with Mormonism. Like people would ask me like, isn't your family Mormon? I would be like, no. Like I would just be like, absolutely not. And then as I kind of found my voice and confidence through like, it's okay. Like you were in the church. That's your past. Who you are is who you make yourself as the future. And so that's really where as I've been getting older through my 20s, really learned like how to actually embrace my Mormonism and turn it into a superpower instead of something that was like shameful, that I felt shamed about and embarrassed about.
So it sounds like your family, maybe they didn't love it, but they were accepting.
At first it wasn't loved. Like my sister dropped me off at my best friend's house. And that was kind of like, I'm going to stay here because I'm not like her dad got me a phone. Her dad pretty much did everything for me. And it was also a really hard, confusing time in my life. My family was like, my dad was at church every single Sunday, like saying, oh my God, like I would just be like crucified for saying that. Not okay. But I had a really interesting dynamic with my dad where since I didn't know about the alcohol, I was so naive about it. I had no idea that my dad was an alcoholic growing up. So that also plays a very large role in how I date, who I want to date, dating habits, drinking habits, social habits, so many things. So this is where the alcohol really comes into play because now I know what alcohol is. Now I'm having a healthy relationship with alcohol. You know, I'll have a beer here under a parent supervision. And then I'm realizing that my dad is a full-blown alcoholic and he's not doing any of the things that I need him to do as a father when you are a teenage girl. That's a rough time for any girl.
Yeah.
You do not know how to deal with your hormones. You're just like a crazy emotional hormonal wave all the time. And then you add alcoholism, and then you add the confusion of the church. And then that affected my whole family because my dad's whole family, they're all Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point, it was just kind of creating like a tiff between us. Like my cousin slept over one time and we got him drunk. And I'll never forget, this is like the slap that was heard across the world because we got caught drinking with my friend Maddie, who I like moved in her house. And I'll never forget my uncle literally slapped him so hard for drinking that we might as well have like, it was crazy. Like, just for drinking some Smirnoff watermelon, calm down. So, yeah.
So what was your, I guess, experience with, I don't know what you would call it, being like interested in boys or boy crazy? Like, I remember when I was going through middle school, I was girl crazy. Like, you know, I'd talk with my friends. I remember being like 12 or 13, you know, hanging out like in a tree house with a buddy, and we're like, it's going to be so cool when we're old enough to have sex.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
like one day
that's going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
I never really went through that like period where like girls have cooties or anything like that. I was always just like, no, I've pretty much been interested. What was that like for you? And how was the kind of like the constraints of the church making that confusing?
Yeah, this is the really tough part about the church that like people don't talk about. And like I was leaving the church at something called a beehive. So once you're 12, you're a woman in the Mormon church. You are like, you go to this next level of like lessons, and they basically teach you how to be Susie Homemaker. Then they also teach you
Susie Homemaker.
Yeah, they teach you how to be like Susie Homemaker. We're gonna have nights where we like quilt, and then they like really keep you like together.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the rough time because I never felt welcomed. I hated it. I felt like it was just every single Sunday, like I could feel like the pressure and like the anxiety that I was experiencing, but I didn't know it was anxiety at the time. I'm 12. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like for example, they'll do weird things. Like for men, I know they teach them like, don't touch yourself, don't masturbate. So they really like suppress your sexual feelings. Like they're not telling you like, this is your woman body. You're going to embrace it. You're changing. You're going to get your period. Basically, they're like, you're going to wear super conservative clothing. And if you show anything, you are sinning. Like your body's a temple. Don't drink. Don't dress bad. Don't do any of these things. They just emphasize this, like, your body's a temple. Your body's a temple. It's like, my body is my body and I'll treat it. And if it's a temple, I'll treat the temple how I want to treat the temple. So they really emphasize that to kind of like constrict you into their norms of what they want you to do. There's this like activity, I don't know what you call it. I guess like group activity where you can get like a piece of gum and you chew it and you spit it out. And that is what they say that you are after you have sex. So
lovely.
I'm like, okay. So they really just don't emphasize, and like the word like sex isn't really being used because we're 12. It's like, this is who you are. They use all these like crazy terms. Like they speak like they, them, like, you know, very like, so they just really want you to be seen and not heard. And they kind of emphasize everything in Beehive. You know, there's levels to it, but I was only 12. I only made it to Beehive because I kind of went rogue. But yeah, they teach you to be seen and not heard. So as now I'm getting older and exposed, and now I'm meeting friends and I'm having lots and lots of sleepovers. Like every single weekend I'm having a sleepover because I don't want to be home. Yeah. Being home on the weekend is a bad thing for me. I don't want to be around my dad. Me and my dad had major beef, major like disconnect when I was in that age, middle school to high school. I was starting to rebel. I was starting to wear whatever I wanted. I was realizing the church is actually insane. And so that created like a really, really big disconnect between us. And like we went to family therapy. Like I told my dad in the middle of all of this, like, I don't love you in therapy, because I was so young and hurt, and like, of course I love my dad, and now we have the best relationship ever. But at that time, I truly felt like I don't love you. Like it was neglectful. In my opinion, it felt neglectful, like being so suppressed in a church where you're just confused and lied to, and like, it's not with the times.
Yeah.
Before we continue with the episode, if you're going out and getting numbers and want to improve your texting so more of those numbers convert to dates, check out my texting course. It will teach you the psychology of digital communication, which is surprisingly polar opposite in almost every way compared to live interactions. What works in person doesn't work in text, so this is almost always the area that men are making easily correctable mistakes that they're totally unconscious of. My course will optimize your texting, which is a skill you really need to master, and the best part is you can cut and paste your way to mastery. You can find the link in the description. It costs less than a round of drinks. And if you're going on dates and want to learn what to do so more of them end up in your bedroom, check out my free dating protocol. You'll learn to be an interesting guy to talk to, even if you're serious or over-analytical. How to help a girl open up on a date, why talking about sex is a big taboo on dates if you want to get laid, and what to talk about instead, going from the first touch to the first kiss, how to invite her over to your place, and why you should skip 80% of the physical escalation moves you're doing back at your place. The link to this free guide is in the description. Out of all the guys I know, the only ones who manage to consistently land 8s and up are the guys who have built a social circle. You can certainly approach women and use the apps to get laid, but those strategies simply don't really work on top tier women. Think about it. If she's hot, she has hot friends. And hot girls get invited to high status events almost every single night. So when it comes time to get ready for your date, do you think she's gonna show up or flake last minute when her girlfriend texts her to come to some awesome thing? As if she's gonna choose the random dude on Hinge or the guy who chased her down on the street over her social circle. No chance. If you're getting tons of flakes, this is the reason. But for most guys, the idea of building a social circle, especially if you're traveling or in a new city, can feel overwhelming. So they continue to hunt for women in their usual ways, and they end up settling for a girl they were never really that excited about in the first place. To avoid this fate, join our community of aspiring international playboys and instantly plug into a highly vetted social circle of cool dudes to network and navigate your journey with. You already know it's hard to find a wingman because the good ones don't really stay in the game very long. They get married, life goes on, right? Many of our members travel together, they end up living together, and they build amazing social circles in the best kept secret locations around the globe with gorgeous women and low cost of living. I'm extremely careful who I let into this community, but if you feel like you'd make a good fit, you can learn more about the social funnel method to consistently land top tier women and apply to join our community. The link is in the description. Now let's get back to the show.
So that felt crazy. So then I'll never forget. I was in middle school, like I had this guy that I was like, oh, he's so cute. Like I liked talking to him, but I was like so awkward and I had no idea how to talk to him. And like, he would like he was in my PE class and we would like do like Frisbee, like, you know, whatever you do, like flag football. I was the worst. I had no idea. Like, I think he would like text me, but it was like weird. And I would like feel super like weird about it all the time. And like, you weren't Mormon and like, you were my friend, but like, when am I going to hang out with you? Never.
That's what you would think, or he would say? That's
what I would think, because it's like, when I'm not going to tell my parents, like I was so disconnected from them. Like, when am I going to ask to hang out with a boy? Absolutely not.
So you felt like he had, interest in you, but you were awkward about it?
Yeah.
You didn't know how to.
I didn't know what to do about it. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting attention from this guy who's like really cute. And I was like, I did not know what to do. So awkward. Like, he would text me. I remember him texting me and me just like not really giving much back because I didn't know how to. So then I always felt like kind of embarrassed, like talking to boys. Freshman year, super embarrassed. Like, I never felt pretty. I never felt confident. I just felt like awkward and like a little less than my peers, since this was like the start of all the bullying. So I didn't feel like empowered yet. And then freshman year, there was this guy on the soccer team. And
so now you're at a normal school.
I'm at a normal school. All my friends are not Mormon. I'm a cheerleader and I'm pretty much at my friend's house. I'm not really home ever. So like I'm now in this different era of childhood, teenager.
So in middle school, you didn't have like the middle school boyfriend or anything like that?
No, okay. I never kissed a boy.
I didn't either. I tried to in 7th grade and like I was too much of a a wimp to ask her out. So I like asked her friend out for me, you know, and the cool way to do it back then was like, well, will you go out with me? That was like, should we be boyfriend, girlfriend? But funny enough, the girl that I asked to ask the friend, she actually liked me. I had no idea.
Ooh,
so nice. She had to say no for the other girl because I think the other girl liked me too. But I like looking back, it all made sense. But at the time, I was just like, I was a little bit chubby. So I was like, no, I'm fat and I'm short and I'm a loser because I got rejected, right? She friend zoned me. And
that one friend zone.
I didn't ask another girl out until the end of high school. Like I didn't have my first kiss till I was like 17, lose my virginity when I was 18. But, you know, had that gone well, when seventh grade, my life would have taken a much different trajectory. So,
yeah, I mean, I think those first few experiences are really important and they kind of shape, like, I'll never forget those, like, first few, like, I remember in middle school, it was like such a thing to pass notes. Like, it was such a thing to pass notes. So, like, we would like chit chat, text here and there, like, no emojis yet, green text messages and like pass notes. But like, and I thought I was being bad. Like I thought I was being really bad. But yeah, I didn't have a taste into that. It was like my first experience ever. And at this time, so my brother is 4 years older than me. And when you're in middle school, one's in middle school, one's in high school, that's a big age difference. Like we didn't have mutual friends or anything. And then now, as a freshman in high school, my brother had just graduated and now I'm on the cheer team and my brother was friends with a lot of the cheerleaders who were 2 years older than me. So those girls who were 2 years older than me were friends with him and his friend group.
And your brother, he was also in the church or he was?
We were all born and raised baptized in the church. My grandpa was like pretty well known in the church.
So, but how did your brother end up being friends with all those people because he was in the church? Like, wouldn't he have to like?
Well, boys are different. My brother, one thing about him is he doesn't care.
Got it. Okay. So they're not.
No, not even at all. My brothers had their own relationship with the church and with dating and all these things. But like my brothers were like rebellious. Like I remember my brothers going to parties.
Yeah.
And they would come home. He had his license. He was allowed to do things.
Interesting. Yeah. Now that I think about it, the kids in my neighborhood, the boys were all like crazy, you know, and the kid I was talking about sex with was a Mormon kid, you know, and like, but now that I think about it, their sisters, like I didn't really see them much, you know?
Oh, I remember my brothers always having freedom, doing whatever. Like one time I found a vodka water bottle in my brother's room with like Skittles in it, like trying to sweeten it up. And like, that was like normal. Like that's fine. Okay, he's allowed to have his little cheerleader boot over. Like, so my brother's room was all glass window. There wasn't curtains, I guess, for some reason, or they're open. And my dad would always water the plants outside. And I know my dad always saw girls in my brother's room, but like, it's kind of like, oh, I'm proud of you, son. It's not necessarily like, what are you doing here to the girls? Right. But then me, on the other hand, is like, what are you wearing? You look like the Oceanside hooker. That was one I got.
Okay.
So I'm just like, I can't wear jean shorts out of the house because I look like the Oceanside hooker. First off, we live in Vista. So get your
city right.
Yeah, get your city right. Stop drinking. Like, it was crazy.
All right. So now you're in high school. Your brother's friends with the older cheerleaders.
Yes, this is when the fun started. Okay. My brother was friends with older cheerleaders. So then they were so nice to me. So then, you know, they're all obsessed with my brother. So now these girls are like, oh, Bailee, da, da, da. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you want to go to a party? I'm like, yeah. Or we called it homie nights. You want to come to a homie night? I'm like, yeah. So sometimes my brother would be there. Sometimes he wasn't. My brother had joined the Air Force. So he was like glorified, especially in our home. Oh my gosh. Like my brother can like, basically, in my dad's eyes, my brother walks on water.
So your brother fucks?
My brother fucks so hard. He's my best friend ever. Like, no one fucks harder than my brother. Like, he is handsome. He's smart. He's educated. He's doing all the things. So
By the way, we should tell the viewers what fucks means.
Oh,
so Bailee,
it fucks.
I learned this term from Bailee, and I think maybe I'd heard it before, but like you'd always say like this thing fucks, or this burrito fucks, or this dude fucks. So what does that mean?
Like it goes hard. It's the shit. It's the best.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. It's cool. It's good.
It knows what's up.
It knows what's up. All the things, like anything, like this burrito, it's so good. It fucks. This espresso martini is hitting. It fucks.
It's so addictive to say this. Once you start saying it, now I say everything fucks. This coffee fucks.
Yeah, like this coffee doesn't fuck.
It's not a booze in here, I promise. It's coffee, but it definitely fucks.
Yeah, literally. Like
so does
it fucks. Exactly. Your cup, it fucks. So I have this like really bad. I'm trying to get it out of my vocabulary.
Right? It's like they're very difficult to remove.
Oh, when it's slipping at work and you're just like, oh,
and Maria was using it so much because she's not a native English speaker.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So she was. So yeah, we've been trying to lessen it, but it's still fun to say. So.
Yeah, it definitely had its era, it had its run.
So anyways, your brother's cool. He's like, he's in the scene.
My brother
Girls
is
like him.
So cool, so handsome. Like he had a car. He always listened to cool music. Like it was
so
just,
the girls all liked him, and then they took you under their wing as well.
Yeah, they're now that I'm older, I'm like, you guys used me to get to my brother.
Right.
And eventually one of them was his girlfriend, and like we don't speak at all because of it. But at the time I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to a party, and I would get anxiety before the party. Like I remember my legs would like shake a little bit because I'm like, we are so bad. Like, what are we doing?
These were just house parties.
These are just
Keggers,
normal house
sort of
parties. Keg, somebody smoking weed in the corner, like
someone's parents are out of town. They're hosting it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So just like all the time. And so this is where I met my first. He was never really like my boyfriend. It was never official boyfriend, girlfriend. And to me, that would be so serious because I was taught you marry who you date. So it took me a while to learn that like, you don't have to be in a serious relationship. Like it's okay to date somebody and be like, actually, this isn't what I want for my future. But at the time I'm like, oh, boy crazy in the sense of like, I felt free, but I was still like very innocent. Like I was scared to do anything, but I was like learning how to communicate with boys, and like I'm going to the parties. So it took me to like the end of my freshman year in high school to even have my first kiss. And at that, I was like so nervous and scared. I was like, it was like we talked about it with the cheer girls for like 2 weeks. But like I guess when you're that age and you're immature, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, he likes me. He's on the soccer team. Like he would text me all the time, and he would text me smiley faces, and I was like, you might as well just be asking to marry me. Like smiley faces, what? But then like I had my first kiss, and then like a long time went by after that, and like I didn't like him because I was just, my sense of dating was like so off. It's like you either have to be my boyfriend or I don't speak to you at all, which that didn't do me any service. That was actually like, I guess it kept me out of trouble because I wasn't just like hooking up with a bunch of guys. And I also didn't know I was pretty. I was still being bullied. This is like not peak bully yet. It was so weird. Like my whole high school experience, like I was friends with the cool kids, but then within those cool kids, like I was bullied so bad. Like
by the girls?
By the girls. Like somebody one day, somebody stole my purse at school. And somebody dipped a chicken nugget in ranch and threw it at me. Like, that's mean. Like, you girls are mean and so yes, of course it hit me. I was like, you girls are mean and you girls are jealous. Like, that was such like a big moment in all of that. And I was just like, no. And then I keep going. And then now I met this guy at a party who I was like, obviously like the whole high school was obsessed with him. But he like didn't like fuck around. Like no, like not, he wasn't like fucking all these girls.
This is a soccer player.
No, I've moved on from soccer player. Okay. Sorry. Soccer player was just my first kiss, was like innocent little like do. And then, I'm older. I think it's like sophomore year or junior year of high school. Like I was time went by. I didn't like, maybe I got a guy's number here and there, but like, no, I definitely wasn't hooking up with anybody. It wasn't like none of that, like sex, like none of that, like hookup or whatever you consider it. That's not sex. Like I wasn't doing any of that. I was so scared. I was so scared of boys. I was like, I don't even know how to like go about this. And then I felt like I was sinning. Like it felt
So you still had
bad.
the programming.
Oh,
like you're
fully programmed. Like it was like gonna ruin my life. I might as well have just like done meth. It would have been the same thing. Meanwhile, all my friends are like getting boyfriends, like losing their virginities. Now it's like they're like experts at sex because they have a boyfriend now.
Right.
Like, ew, why are you like, it was terrible. But then it was me. I was like always the one who was like still a virgin, like never having sex. I was like, and then there was this guy who I ended up being like infatuated with. I was obsessed with him. He was on the football team. And this is where the dynamic with my dad and brothers really like changed. Not my brother who I was like really close with, but my other brother, because I was a young white Mormon girl and he was black. And I was obsessed with him on the football team. And of course he was a Mormon. So this was like taboo. I felt like I was doing all the bad. Like I felt like a bad girl. I was like, ooh, okay. And
you probably have this insane desire to do all that stuff because you couldn't, right?
I was
it's just a very human reaction. Like you tell me I can't do something. That's what I want to do.
Oh, 100%. That had like a huge thing to do with it. I was like still very shy, I wasn't who I am now yet. Like this is my first experience into dating somebody. I thought we were boyfriend girl. Like you're so young. Like what even is a boyfriend? What even is a girlfriend? Like we're talking. I know that word was thrown around a lot.
Right.
But I hooked up with him for like a few years. Like I didn't hook up with like other. Like I was like obsessed with him. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I text you. Like I have to marry you. Like obviously I wasn't going to do that. Obviously it would never work out. Like my brother actually beat him up at a party one time. He ruined it for me. I walked into a party. My cousin had a 18th birthday party. So actually I forgot to say this. Me, my cousins, my brothers, like we all went to the same high school.
Yeah.
So all of us like staggered, like, so we had a lot of mutual friends, a lot of mutual parties, like a lot. So yeah, I walked into a lingerie party in lingerie as like a sophomore in high school with him. And my brother was like, absolutely not. Is this happening right now? And he beat him. He threw him out the door like a rag doll. So like that really ruined it for me. Cause like, I think like he would have been like boyfriend situation, but like would have come to my parents' house. Like, I would have been like, suck it, dad, like good luck, but I couldn't because I was like so scared that my brother was going to kill him.
Okay.
So that really ruined it. And that was like all through high school. I was obsessed with him. I was like attached to him, whatever that like attachment is that they talk about. I think that that's what I had because I just remember being like obsessed with him. And then now I graduate high school and I meet who was my first boyfriend ever. And this is where it got really fucked up because I was dating this person. And was like, oh, I'm obsessed with you. Like I knew his sister. He used to cheer with his sister. I was like, he's so sweet. He's so cool. It's like, I really like you. And then we have these like few months. I was like, I'm new in college. He had just moved back from LA. Like he's so cool. Like he was like fit. He was like everything that like a girl could want, right? Family has money. I was like, this is great. Well, we're dating and we're dating and we're dating. And then he gets a call one day that he has a baby on the way.
Wow. Okay.
So that just made this relationship go from like on the serious scale, like a 2 to a 10. And I was like so young, so naive. I had no idea. And so like, I didn't know what to do. Like now Bailee would be like, run. At the time I'm like, I'm attached to this guy. I really like him. I'm supposed to be married soon. Like you get married young in the Mormon church. I'm like, oh, now I'm in college. Like I'm an adult. You're not an adult. So I go.
So he gets some chick pregnant.
Yeah. He gets a girl pregnant who's.
And were you guys supposed to be like monogamous?
So I should mention that yes, we were monogamous together, but his baby was like about to be born. So I didn't know and he didn't know, supposedly.
So, okay. So it wasn't like he cheated. It was this happened before.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like he had just moved back to LA when we like got together. So he just kind of like slept with a girl at work or who he was like on and off sleeping with. And then,
so you were in college up in LA?
No, I was in college in Vista. I was just at like community college, just like still like kind of at home, not really at home. Like I'm in this like weird back and forth thing with my dad, like trying to build a relationship again, trying to like trust him again. So I'll never forget this day. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what do? I have to tell my mom. I could not care at all what my dad said. At this point, I'm so distant and like disgusted by my dad. Peak alcoholism, like not happening. So I tell my mom, and I think it's really important to know that my mom was raised in foster care. So my mom was like extremely abused, had a terrible life. So when she met my dad, who was Mormon, she married into the Mormon church, and her mother-in-law like saved her. Like my grandma did everything for my mom. Like my mom has had such a good life because of the family that she moved into. But with that being said, my mom's advice was not like, absolutely not. You're young. You're going to ruin your life. It was like, well, I married dad, you know?
Yeah.
And so my mom, when she married my dad, had my oldest sister. So I'm one of 6, but my oldest sister is not my dad's biological daughter, but like that's taboo. We don't speak about that because we've never, I didn't even know till like 5 years ago.
Oh, crazy.
Like,
yeah. So she was already pregnant.
Yeah. So it was like this big secret because of the church. And that, like in a normal home, it would be like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I married your dad when your sister was like 4 months old or whatever. Like, normal. But it's just always been this like weird secret. So my mom's advice to me was, I did it with your dad. They just had their 36th anniversary. So
it worked for me.
It worked for me. Yeah. Sure, go. Like my daughter's going to be married into the family. Like he has a good job. They have money. Like, oh, she's going to have a wonderful life.
Yeah.
Most traumatizing experience in my life. Like getting attached to somebody who has a child. The child just gets ripped away from you when you break up. Like rumors of cheating. Like I moved in with him. Like all of these things. Like we were going to get married. Like all of these things happened to me. And then I had just been so done with being treated. Like I was now finding my voice in this relationship where him and his mom were obsessed with each other and just had this like dynamic that I was never going to fit in. I was never going to be good enough. I was never going to fit in. And then I also had like weird opinions of relationships from how I was raised. And my only experience of relationships was my mom and dad's marriage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want their marriage in a sense. And I don't want this marriage in a sense. So
how long was that? How long were you in that? Sort of
2.5, almost 3 years.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah. So that took you like through a lot of college.
Oh yeah. It took like my pivotal, like young years. I remember it must have been like 2.5 because I threw his son's second birthday party, which is in May. And then
so you're like a full-blown mom.
Oh, I was full-blown mom. Like I was so attached to this child that I was like I'm going to be the best woman for the baby, not for the partner that I love, but for the baby. Yeah. Baby has a mom. Baby has a dad. Like this is not my child. And it took me like a little bit to understand like my role.
Yeah.
And then one day we were fighting and I decided to leave while he was sleeping. So he was sleeping with the baby. We had fought all day. And I was like, you know what? This is where I draw the line. And I put my foot down and I packed up all my shit in my car that I could. And I left. And then that moment was like the most like pivotal moment in my life where I was like, I'm never going to be treated like this again. I'm starting to realize that I'm pretty. Like I can date people. Like I was 21 now. I was like getting attention. I'm like, no, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a dangerous relation. Like the way I left was wrong, but like it really like empowered me to just be like, fuck you. No one's going to treat me like this again. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So then that is where all the danger happened, because I was 21 now. And now we are going to
and
the
then you
club.
start going to EDM.
Oh, man.
EDC.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to EDC. I was doing all these things, right? Like, I just like really.
So that's when you
found
kind of went
myself.
crazy.
100%.
Got it. Okay. It's from like age 21.
Yeah, I was like almost 22 to like, no, 21 to like 23. Like for 2 years straight, I was at the club or a rave every single weekend, if not Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
It's so interesting because I had my crazy experience of like partying and clubbing and all that stuff in my like, I think I was about 31. Because up until then, you know, I went to college and like went to house parties and did all those things, but like the cool, like real parties, you know, and like going to festivals and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have access to that. I didn't really know about it. I wasn't cool enough to like understand what that sort of counterculture was. You know, I'd go to like bars in San Diego and like, you know, get drunk or whatever, like in PB. But once I like sort of understood how social dynamics worked more, I met some promoters, I met some girls that were living in like model houses. And then I got this exposure to like the real party scene, you know,
the
like
underground real party.
Exactly. Like, you know, the more like going to the festivals, like really cool, like mansion parties. And, you know, as a guy, it takes a while. Like you have to have some resources. You kind of have to like build up this connection list that you have. You have to understand like the vernacular of how promoters talk and how hot girls act. And you have to like become cool, which I wasn't. I was this kind of like dorky, you know, kid. And then once I learned that, it was like, oh, this is like a whole new world. This is fun. This is like really, you know,
it's addicting.
Yeah. And then I spent almost all of my 30s doing that world, which is just too much fun, you know?
Well, luckily for you, you're a boy. So like, I know that in that social situation, like you weren't really going to get a chance until you were in your 30s. Like the girls are young, the boys are older.
Yeah.
The boys don't get to do that in their 20s or whatever. It's like 30, older 30s, 40s.
Real quick, before we get back to the show, if you're like me, a quasi-cool geek who wants to level up your social life and attract your perfect 10, and you're feeling a little bit stuck at your current level of growth, then I invite you to apply to the Inner Confidence Community. That's my 6-month program where I and my team will guide you on exactly how to meet handfuls of new amazing connections every week and how you can create the exact relationships you want on your terms. It's not just another group coaching program. You get a one-on-one growth coach who's going to meet with you each week to implement exactly what to do. And my team is going to do a decent amount of the grunt work for you. So if you're in the market to supercharge your confidence and your social life, and you'd like to work with us, the link to apply is in the show notes. All right, let's get back to the show.
All right, so what's your thoughts on
okay,
female access to dick versus male access to pussy by age? You've got this slut zone from basically age, 20 to 24. You got the marriage zone, and then for guys, it doesn't really start until your early 30s, and then it kind of extends. And
this is like sickening how accurate it is. And this is just like my experience with people in like LA and Orange County. I had moved from San Diego, so now I'm like basically sleeping on like friends' couches every weekend, trying to like go to all these things, being flown out. But yeah, the men age range is. This is like so on point. It's so sad.
Right.
But it's true. Like I'm at that pivotal marriage zone right now. So that's why I think that like maybe my perspectives are also changing as you get older.
Right.
Also like your brain is more developed.
Totally.
But like that slut zone for the girl is like that's your time to shine. Not even necessarily like you have to be a slut, because I don't really like that word, because I think I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like just because you are bringing me to a festival, I don't owe you anything. I don't have to sleep with you. If I want to sleep with you, I'll sleep with you. Like I think that's like the most empowering part. But that also comes with the hotter you are, the less you have to do, in my personal experience. And have to do. Like there's social dynamics that happen in that age range with the older men and the younger girls.
So you're basically in your early 20s, you start getting invited to all this crazy stuff. Guys are probably offering, like, what was it like to all of a sudden have like this world open up where you kind of have access to like whatever the hell you want?
Oh, it was crazy. I loved going to festivals with my brother. Like we loved going to shows. We loved doing that. So it's like, okay, but like now the DJ's inviting me, or like, and then it started off with an older friend who used to be my oldest sister's friend too. So she kind of was like, oh, we're going to go out. I had just broken up with him. She's like, we're going to go out to the club. I have a table. I'm like, we have a table. Like, what does that even like really mean? Like of course, I've never been to the club without a table because my boyfriend at the time was wealthy. Like I never like had to do any of like general admission. Like,
Right.
Oh,
GA, what's that?
GA, I never, because like,
that's pedestrian shit. We don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, I don't do that. Poverty shit. I don't do that. I'm too pretty for that. My feet hurt. So yeah. So then you go to the club one time and then you meet the promoter and then you meet the promoter's friends and then they invite you. And then your favorite DJ or rapper, whoever is going on again. And then you're just like, okay, cool. I want to go to that club again. And then you go to the next club. And then now you have this like network you have a connection everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And then.
And that scene isn't that big.
It's so small. Like you think it's big when you're introduced to it and you're like, wow, but everybody knows everybody.
Yep. All the DJs know each other. They know all the girls. There's a few promoters that know all the girls. Everyone's hooked up with everybody.
Everybody has hooked up with everybody. Everybody in LA has hooked up with each other. Like if you were to connect the web, it's actually insane. And so I don't know. I thought it was cool. Now I'm learning pretty girl privilege. That I've never felt that I had. I am no longer friends with any of those people that bullied me in my inner circle. I didn't have that toxic relationship. My dad and I, like, I'm trying to work on our relationship. I'm in my own therapy. So now I'm just like, oh, I'm going. And this whole time I had my brother's support. Like, you're beautiful. Like, go do it.
Yeah.
Like,
and
why not? In
that scene, I found that like, there wasn't much of like the shaming of like, slut shaming or hookup shaming. It's like everyone's just yo, we're going to go party and like people are going to hook up and no one's really going to like, everyone's like very cool about it and very open about it because everyone's just kind of, in that scene. And it was refreshing for me because it wasn't like as judgy. I think that's why I thrived so well because I was still I didn't know that I wasn't in my prime yet. So, but I was definitely like getting all this attention, all these things, but it was never like, why are you wearing that outfit? What are you doing? Like, we're going to a festival. I'm going to EDC with a guest pass. Like, I'm going to be dressing all sorts of crazy, like wig, chains. I'm going to have a pacifier in my mouth. I'm going to have a pacifier in my mouth or like a lollipop. That was my favorite. When like, girls get with the pacifiers. Yeah. Like wearing a onesie, pacifier in the mouth, neon bracelets. Like and you're just like, and then everyone's just like, yeah, you're cool. You look cool. Yeah. But also like, I think the music around it being in the EDM world is like such a different culture than the hip hop. Like I never really did get into like that hip hop realm that like other friends had friends who are rappers and stuff like that. Just like, I was too intimidated for it and I didn't like it. And the culture is so much different in that aspect. Yeah. But it was like, hey, like you meet one person who has access to all these things, right? And then you know who that one person is. And then you meet the girls because it's you and a bunch of girls. Like so many times I showed up to a party by myself because I had no friends that were able to get in or to go or who wanted to go. I didn't have anybody on that thing. But I did have one of my really close friends introduce me to people here and there, which she's 2 years older than me and she's gorgeous. She's been in the scene. So I was really lucky to like have her because I was like, oh, I'm doing this. And she's like, oh, I know that person. So for me, I'm like, oh, she's known him for years. Like I'm safe. It's fine. Yeah. So then this is where I went to a festival. One time I went to Escape, had my little pass, and I met so many people and they're just like, oh, like you're cool, you're pretty. Now it's like, come to EDC, come to Audiotistic, come to all these things. And I was just like, I'm there. Send me. and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were like, you were kind of like working as like a promo model sometimes, or like they pay you to dance on. And shit like that.
I would do just like random things that like at the time, like I was like, what?
I can get paid to do
to do this. So I would be like, now Bailee would be like, okay, like a lot of girls are having, like everyone is in LA to model.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, has to be like in music videos, which was cool. Now cringe, but at the time you're like, I'm like, what? So I'm learning pretty girl privilege, and I'm learning sexuality is whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning like there's so much that I didn't never even tapped into that I was like exposed to. So I'm really like learning like how far I can push the limit. And I pushed the limit pretty far.
And when did or continue? But then my next question is going to be like, when did that sort of change what you were looking for? Did you go from like, I want a husband, I want a boyfriend, to just like, I want to have fun and I want to explore?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was like addicted to this like fast paced lifestyle, like fly me to EDC. Let's do this. You're cool. Just like,
I'm sure guys are trying to lock you down.
Oh, guys are trying to lock me down the whole time. But the thing is like the girls make friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even like, I think people need to realize the whole time it's like girls have a huge influence on this. Like the girls, why is a guy going to invite 6 girls who hate each other?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want that.
Right.
You know,
promoters need to, figure out who fits with who.
Vibes with who.
That was a huge part for me when I would like organize trips and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We had to make sure that like all the people coming were going to be cool with each other. And like some of the girls had come before, and the new girls would like, follow suit with those girls. And like, we'd go to Coachella, and if you had one like crazy bitchy psycho girl, she could like spoil it for everyone, for everyone,
like the one cockblock friend who doesn't get attention, so.
And all the girls have to be basically the same level of attractiveness. Otherwise, like
100.
Doesn't work.
That's
People
very
don't get
important.
in. Yeah.
You need to be able to get to the table, but like, so do your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a really big social dynamic that I was like confused about at first. And then you pick it up really quick. And then you realize like, oh, you're always welcome at the table. You're always welcome at the thing, at the party, at the thing. And then you're just like doing shit that just gets bigger and bigger. But then the slut zone is ending and you're getting a little bit older. And then I was like, actually really tired of this. I know I can date whoever I want because I've dated whoever I wanted. And it's like, it was never a shortage of like, who's trying to date me. I quickly learned that no matter what age, because at that time I'm like, oh my gosh, you're 4 years older than me. Like you're older.
Right.
And then it was like, you're 8 years older than me. And then I was like, why are people who are like, have kids who are like 15 hitting on me? I would be like, this is insane. And then you realize like the guys get older, the girls get younger.
Yep.
And
it's like Leo.
Yeah,
DiCaprio, right?
Oh my gosh. Somebody needs to just give that man an ankle bracelet. He needs to stay home. So now I'm at this age where also what kept my head level was my job.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these girls didn't work, or they did, I don't know.
They're just like full-time on the party circuit.
Full-time on the party circuit. I have no idea.
Shit,
yeah.
Right? It's like they go from one festival to the next, one party. They're invited to, Ibiza, then they're in Mykonos, and they're basically in Europe the whole summer. And then they come back for Burning Man, and then they go to Tulum. Like there's a circuit,
It is the circuit, and it depends like what time of the year, the festivals.
Formula One. Cannes Film Festival.
Things. You're just like, I'm like, how are you affording this? And I'm like, you're not affording shit. You're not paying for anything.
Right.
But I had Monday through Friday full-time job. So that was what kept me in reality.
Yeah.
So I'm learning. This is like a really interesting dynamic now because I always this whole time had a job that I kept.
That's hard to do, because like it's such a tempting offer to just just be on the circuit. Don't pay for shit. Yeah. Like just, you kind of like you end up kind of dating a guy, but he's usually like dating a bunch of chicks, or you're dating a promoter, or and it's like you're sort of dating, but it, everything's fair game.
Dating.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're just jumping from one to the next sort of thing. But like, it's really hard to do what you did, which is keep the job and keep yourself kind of grounded and like have that separation. I'm
guessing. That separation. And I think the biggest factor in like my confidence was that I always had my brother. And so I was very open. He was a wonderful, masculine man. Like he was like the influence that I needed. And like, I cared about what he thought. So this whole time, like he's like, wear the outfit, but you're not going to be the girl who's like going in the bathroom at this LA party, like getting gangbanged by all the dudes just because they have money. Like you're not, like, remember where you came from, remember who you are. And that made my confidence go up so high because it was like, I'm actually not being passed around. I'm dating here and there who I want, if I want to, but I never felt any pressure, but it made me feel even more pretty because I never got turned away from a party. I never got disinvited. I never got anything less than any of the other girls. And so I'm like, oh, what the heck? Like, this is crazy. So that was like a really big thing for me. And then I was like, I'm tired. I had an injury at work where a patient had fallen on me. And so like I couldn't work. I got put out of work. I had vertigo for like months. I was super sick. And at that time, I met my chiropractor. I met his little brother. And so I get introduced to this guy who's a good guy. He was wonderful. Comes from a wonderful family, all educated. He basically just like swept me off my feet when I was sick and I needed him the most. And I was just like, well, this is wonderful. He's a lawyer. So I was like, oh, he's a lawyer. Like, oh, I'm going to get my life together. Not realizing how young you are when you're 20, 23, 24. So, that relationship gave me all the confidence because now I'm back in school. I'm still pretty. I'm still doing all the things. I'm still getting invited. He was never controlling. He would like let me go to the things. Like I would all the time. I was still doing all the things I wanted to do. But now I was the girl who's like, I have a boyfriend, but like actually did have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So then like that didn't work out. We broke up. But through all of these times, I've stayed consistent with like really learning like how I can pivot this dating circle and how I can use leaving that church to my advantage, because now I'm like full confidence. Like I have so much to offer. What do you have to offer me?
Yeah.
Anyone is going to invite me to the festival. Anyone's going to pay for my dinner. Anyone's going to do this. So
don't need your money. I have a job.
I don't need your money. I have a job. I'm applying for this program, that program. Like I'm good. So now for the first time ever in my life, I'm like, I don't need anybody. How are you going to benefit my life that I can't benefit myself?
Yeah.
So that's really where it's like changed in the last, few years. Cause it's just like, I don't need anybody. You need me.
Right. And so that guy that, he needs to get it, he needs to be at least, well, he basically kind of had to be in that scene at one point, which is what I realized too. I got to a point when I was like in my late 30s. I'm like, I can't date like a normal girl who has never had access to this world because they just wouldn't understand like my reality. Like, wait, you did what? You went to this festival? Like, wait, what? Like, and
that was like a huge factor because he never was a part of it. So he was like the good guy who they're like, oh, date the good guy and whatever. And like, he was amazing. I have like nothing negative to say about him, but he didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I don't expect him to. You don't have pretty girl privilege and no.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to get it. But I would still go.
Yeah.
Like I would still do my thing. But,
and that's what I felt to be, I guess the hardest part was like, now I needed to find someone I could date who was like, understood the scene, was in the scene, wasn't like too much in the scene.
Yeah,
to where
don't
they
be
become
the scene.
Toxic, right? Because it's so easy to become like a victim to that scene and to just get like fully, down the rabbit hole with all the, you can like, I see girls just become like horrible, they just become incredibly entitled, bitchy, horrible, potential partners. And of course they're hot. So guys get like, more bent out of shape about them. And that just makes the girls even more narcissistic. And it's
terrible.
like, I've seen so many guys just get demolished on the party circuit by these really hot girls because they're, you know, they're not filtering for like, okay, just because she's hot, does that mean, you know, she's going to make a good partner? You know, I certainly made that mistake a bunch of times. So.
Yeah, you have to learn like the happy medium. That's why I like went so far from like out of the scene to the good guy, because I thought he would make the best partner. But then it's just like, no, you really do need moderation in all of these things. And at that time in my life, like I wasn't ready to be done.
Yeah.
I still had the itch. I went to EDC with the guest spouse. Like I still did that my whole relationship. So now that I look back on it, like I had no business being in a relationship if I truly wasn't like in a relationship with somebody outside of the scene. If I wasn't ready to be outside of the scene, because it just creates so many like complex issues in your relationship and like dynamics that like you can't even fight about them because he truly has no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
He doesn't get it.
So now this is we should pivot to the red flags or the ick list.
Oh, the ick list.
Because this is great. So, and like I kind of said when we came on, because you've had this exposure and this experience, right? Like you can size up a guy in like less than a second, right? They call it thin slicing in Malcolm Gladwell's book Blink, where it's like you're taking in all this data and coming to a conclusion about something or somebody very fast when you have this life experience, right? So it's like I can see a girl and be pretty much, you know, spot on about like her sort of, you know, her sexuality, her openness, her like life experience, how sheltered she is, just from like, you know, all of my life experience. Yeah. So that's why I love it. We were talking last night about the ick list, and there's like so many things on there.
Love my ick list.
Let's see. To preface the ick list, I also did a podcast. It was like 20 or 30 episodes ago, which was a red flag list, which was effectively, there was like 150 crazy things on there. And some of them were like legitimate red flags, but a lot of them were just like silly, more like ick things that chicks could do. Like if a girl pronounced Barcelona, like, come on.
Get out of here.
You know, it's like, not to say that Spanish people should pronounce it differently, but if like you're in LA and everyone's talking about Barcelona and then you just bust out Barcelona and you speak perfect English.
Yeah, this is LA, it's Barcelona.
Right. So yeah, let's go through the list.
Okay, so this is like the number one top. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Hinge, but like this ick list stems from Hinge.
Okay.
Like, people are out here just being crazy, out of line. First one, singing with a guitar. Do not try and serenade me singing with a guitar. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it. Not one girl has ever said they like it. It's creepy and I'm uncomfortable.
I'm so happy and feel so like vindicated and validated by this, because I could never play the guitar or fucking sing. And I like hear about these dudes like, yeah, man, I just bring her back to my house and I play her a song. It's like,
no,
you, bro.
She hates it. She hates it. And that is like the equivalent of like when a DJ wants to hang out with you and like they play their music. I'm icked. Don't like, let's just not. Bow legs. I think we need to talk about bow legs. Like, I'm sorry you're born with that, but that's going to be a no for me.
Well, what can you do?
Yeah, that is a big fat no. A Marvel guy. That is the most scary thing when a man wants to talk about superheroes.
Yeah, it's a little juvenile.
It's a little juvenile, and you just went from like, you just put yourself in the friend zone so quick before we even had a conversation. Like, don't let me know.
It's kind of like the 40-year-old virgin with the action figures.
Oh my gosh. It's giving 40-year-old virgin. It's giving terrible. So can't do that. This is like a really popular one, apparently. Like a lot of guys have rosary tattoos.
Well, I'm Jewish, so no rosary or any tattoo for me. But
there's this thing where like so many people have rosary tattoos. Love your God. That's fine.
We should pull up a photo of that.
Okay. Oh, I wish I had a screenshot of this guy's. Literally rosary tattoo on the neck. Right there. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tattoo. That's not a real.
That's a tattoo.
Oh my God.
He chose that.
What the hell?
I don't care if you have your little thing here and there. Do you see how it's draped? My ick list says drape.
That is hideous.
It's scary to me.
Or they get them on the hands too, huh?
No, that's not happening. It's like that dude is like, just wear the rosary.
Right. Like, why not just
wear it? I
wear
don't care if you're wearing your rosary. Why are you wearing a tattoo of it? It's, and so many people have it.
What about tattoos in general?
Okay, I like tattoos. There's nothing wrong with tattoos. Get a good tattoo. Get a good tattoo.
Yeah.
But actually tattoos though, there is a huge, it either puts you really quick. I'm going to put you in 2 categories.
Yeah.
You either have tattoos that show, and I instantly think you're either a promoter and you'll never make enough money, or you are in jail, which is fine. But like, you just like are a fuckboy. You put yourself in the fuckboy category. Hands, neck, like it looks good, but like you're not going to pull up to like a super dope job, a super professional job, somebody who's like going to be a provider in my life. And like, you know.
So the tattoos for that signal that they're less, not lower status, but maybe less like affluent or wealthy.
If you have tattoos all over your chest, that has like, you could be fully tatted.
Yeah.
Just, I'm specifically talking about neck and hand tattoos, like the job stopper tattoos.
Got it. Okay.
Because I know like our world is getting more like okay with it, but to a certain extent, like your lawyer boyfriend or doctor boyfriend's not going to come up to you with a neck tattoo and his hands done, you know?
Right. Okay.
It's putting you in a category of, I'm either going to put you in 2 categories. Could date you, could not date you. And it's going to put you in the not date, like not, I'm not going to take you seriously right off the bat. I already know what category.
But might fuck you if it's a fuck.
Yeah. It's not like you can't be my hookup, but like, don't think don't think that we're on the same level. Like we're not.
What about like, so I have a buddy who's a CEO, and he's like the biggest teddy bear, but he's got like full sleeve tattoos. His entire back is done.
I love a sleeve. I love a back. I love tattoos. I'm super attracted to tattoos. I just don't want you to pull up with the neck tattoo and be like, with the Protestantese. Like I already know what vibe.
So it's
you're
more
giving.
like the face neck tattoo.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Aggressive placement.
I love a body tattoo. Like I personally don't have any, but like I like the clean look. But on men, especially if you're tan, like I'm into tan men, eat it up. Do the thing.
I knew I had reached like fuckboy cool level when I hooked up with a girl with a face tattoo.
Oh,
because
shit.
That was like, you know,
nice.
There's no way as like a nice guy, dorky nerd, you're going to be able to pull a girl with a face tattoo. Right. So
that is like next dimension. So yes, you made
wouldn't want to date her, but you know,
that's what I mean. Like, I'm not going to take you seriously. Like I don't want to date. I'm not going to, if I think about somebody who's going to be my boyfriend, you're not going to be in the industry. So if you have a tattoo like that of some sort, you're part of the industry in some way.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're a promoter or you're an influencer, and that's absolutely not. I should put that on my ick list. In that sense of like, oh, come here, like they're all promoters, you know?
So for describe like the term promoter in your mind. Does that, like, when you think promoter, do you think like fuck boy, would never date him, might fuck him, probably broke? Like what are the keywords that go along with that promoter label?
Broke. You're broke. You're not making any money. You're only fucking the girls who are new here. Because essentially if a girl's going to date or want to hook up with a guy in the industry, she's not going to hook up with the promoter once she realizes she doesn't have to. Yeah. She's going to go for the DJ at least. Go for like, he's going to bring you with him. It's going to be fun. Like, don't hook up with a promoter who is living on people's couches, can't pay his rent, but he's only invited because he gets people in. Right.
Do you ever follow Super Snake?
No, what is this?
So Super Snake is like the meme guy for the party circuit. You're going to love this shit. So let me share the screen here. And he creates these memes of like the hierarchy of like promoters and like Coachella.
I love.
Like, let me find one of these at like the whole. Let's see. He's got these starter packs. I gotta find one.
Model hierarchy.
Okay, this would be a good one. Oh my God, it's Burning Man again, a unique, life-changing desert celebration where thousands of degenerates get to party for almost a week straight, suck up to lame rich guys that pay for everything, wear stupid outfits, put 87 varieties of drugs in their noses, mouths, and assholes, be surrounded by the same people they party with all year, and listen to exactly the same DJs they listen to all year just so they can get enough pictures together to post a cringe Insta dump with a vomit-inducing caption like, "The playa always provides, miss my playa fam. I shall be posting Burning Man content all week. Enjoy." So he's like in the scene and he just like roasts it. It's hilarious.
He gets it. This is so accurate of like, this is really funny. Not the civilians. Oh my gosh.
So basically he's always talking, you know, at the top, you've got, you know, some uber wealthy billionaire, but he doesn't quite get it. Cause like to become that level of wealthy, you're a dork, right? And
yeah, you're a dork and your social skills are probably, I mean, I think that's why the pretty girls get as far as they get, because these guys are like, especially when they're new and they're realizing they're paying for things, but like the attention that they're getting and like people that they're meeting and they're just like, what's going on? Like, I know there is some people that I've met. I'm just like, what? Then you're like, oh, he's super rich. He owns this, or he's CEO of this, especially in LA.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh.
Makes sense.
Makes sense why he's here. Even the guys are using you.
Yeah.
Like the guys are actually, like your hotter friends are pulling girls that you could have pulled, but they're using you. They're using like their friend to like name drop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The name, LA name drop.
Love the scene.
It's so wild.
It's so funny.
And I feel like, I think it's like important that I'm studying sociology in school. So every time I'm having a social interaction with these people, I'm learning more and more and more and more about it. Sexuality, the medicine of it all, the everything. Like I've done all of it. So it's like my read is like, I've learned about you. Yeah. I'm going to literally chew you up and spit you out. Like you're not impressing me. Like you can't do that psychology on me. Like it doesn't work for me.
Right.
You know, good luck.
So the promoter is this lower level, you know, promoters, obviously, most guys would dream to have the sexual options that a promoter has. But then you realize as you ascend up the ladder that like a promoter can get laid, but he's never really dating any like high quality marriage material girls because he's just too much of a.
Yeah, you know. I think that there's two really...
Unless you catch a girl who's young and then, you know...
Yeah, like you got her.
She's too, you know, she's clueless, she falls in love, and then you guys, you know, live happily ever after. But like the promoter doesn't really leave that world for long enough.
No, promoter is not going to leave that world. Yeah. They might even get married, but they're not going to be monogamous. Or on his end, at least, you know. Yeah. A lot of the times the girl is monogamous, but the guy isn't, especially... in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah.
What are you going to do? So I think that the promoter is an automatic ick.
Yeah.
Ick for sure. Just like do more. Try harder. At least like these YouTubers and shit, like they're like, aside from their money, like they're really throwing themselves out there. Like they're doing crazy shit on YouTube, like for the world to see. If they get famous, cool. Like it worked out for them. But like there's so many people who try and they do all this shit and they don't even make it.
Yeah.
So like, I give it to them for throwing themselves out there.
Yeah, they're making themselves vulnerable. And
they're super vulnerable. Yeah. This promoter's not doing shit for himself, but like going to be cool for 5 years until then the new, younger, hotter, buffer promoter comes around.
Exactly.
With the new, younger girls that he knows. So
my buddy used to say all these promoters will be living in a carpeted apartment in the valley when they're 40.
Not the carpet, the brown carpet. Exactly. But that's truly like that's where they're going to be. It's bad.
All right, what's next on the ick list?
Okay, what's next for us? Oh, we really need to talk about this. A love bomb.
Yeah. So define that for...
Oh my God, don't you dare love bomb me. A love bomb is when you meet a guy and you know what? Like in order for it to be a love bomb, the girl has to be into it as well. Like a lot of girls like place the blame on the man, I think, because it's so easy to just shift the blame. But like you also opened up, you reciprocated that energy. Like you let him love bomb you. Mm-hmm. It happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. I've been love bombed. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary because you're like, oh, this guy's cool. He has potential. My personal experience is like, this is when I was like dating with different intentions. Like at this point in my life where I want to date with intentions. And so a love bomb is really scary. Like I meet you, you're cool. We had a great date. We had fun. And then like, you're cool. Like you could contend, like you could have gotten a second date, but then the texts flood in, the too many texts, the too many simpy things that are being said, you're obsessed with me. The overinvestment right off the bat. Like I need to know that like you can pull.
Right.
Like I am the prize. Like you don't just like come in here and like love bomb me and think you get me that way. Like you don't. And that's scary. I think it's like a scary character trait when guys feel that a love bomb is necessary and appropriate. It's so inappropriate. Don't send me gifts. And you know, I just, in my personal experience, it's like an obsession and an influx of gifts. And you're just like, thanks for the gifts, but like, oh my God, I'm scared. Like now that you've given me a gift, I feel obligated to talk to you. And now I'm feeling bad and it's feeling weird. And I don't really want to receive these things. And gifts come in all, whether it's a Venmo or flowers or something designer or whatever. I think the harder the love bomb, the more expensive the gift is. Mm-hmm. But then that puts more of a obligation. Yeah. I feel obligated. I want to just text you and be like, hey, I had a great time with you, but this isn't going to work out. I don't want to ghost you.
Yeah.
But because you're doing this, you're going to get ghosted because you're not taking the hint. And it's like very stressful for the girl who's getting love bombed because we're just like, oh, stop. Please stop. Like, this is too much. I don't want any of these gifts. I'll buy my own flowers. Thank you.
That's one of the nice things about being a guy is the love bombing doesn't happen very often because most girls who are, you know, really beautiful, they understand investment levels much better. Like that's the number one thing I work with my clients that are good enough to pull is, you know, they're all love bombing and they don't realize they're doing it. You know, they're sending the stupid texts, they're over communicating, sending the gifts or like, you know, going all in too early. And it just like scares the girls away. And there's nothing they can do but ghost you. You know, and it's like, and then they want to say, they always want to like ask the girl for their feedback. And I'm like, dude,
don't do it. I don't care if I'm never going to speak to you again. If I get the like best of luck, whatever, but like, could you just tell me like, what was it? Don't you dare. First off, now you just got blocked because you just like that just was weird. Like just take the criticism or the text or the call or whatever, just like the DM. Usually it's a DM. Like just like stop. Don't ask me what you did wrong. I'm not your dating
It's not
coach.
your fucking job.
Yeah, it's not my fucking job. You clearly didn't pull me, so good luck. Right. Like I always will shoot like best of luck with you. Like I'm not gonna be like a super bitch and just completely ghost you. But if you're not picking up those cues, if you triple text me and I haven't texted you back, I'm gonna ghost you.
Yeah.
Bye. Yeah. I'm not interested. You're not the one I want to date. And if I want to date somebody, they're gonna know I want to date them.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna love bomb you.
It's so hard for, you know, for me to kind of get that through to guys. So like, no, she's interested or this happened or that happened. They always have their reasons. And it's like, dude, she's not responding to the texts. She saw it. You know?
She saw it. She's not responding. Yeah. If I'm not giving you that energy back, just like have some self-respect for yourself and like confidence for yourself and just be like, okay, next.
And how often have you liked a guy, maybe hooked up with him, maybe not, but for whatever reason, maybe a new guy came into the picture and you put distance there and he didn't love bomb you. And then later, like he was still an option, or later you kind of circled back and things.
That's happened before. That's happened before with somebody who was like, cool, like got the vibes, but respected my space. And then you remember as a girl, or I guess as whoever, whatever, that, oh, he was cool and he like respected my space. Cause unfortunately, like, I don't think that as a woman, like I get my space respected at all. So if somebody gets the game enough to respect my space, don't be the too cool guy where you are like playing the game to the max just to pull and secure the bag. Like, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm the one who's choosing if you're going to get the bag secured, no matter how cool guy you want to play it. But yeah, just it works out so much better for you in the long run if you just like let the girl be like, we'll show you what we want.
Yeah.
Just follow our lead. Like, it's not that hard. And if you follow our lead and you're cool, I promise you, in her chit chat tea time with her friends, she's going to say, but he's so cool.
Right.
There you go. And then you get to stick around, and then you get a nickname in the group chat. And like you've made it to the roster. Yep. There you go. You're cool. You made it.
So talk about the group chats, because
group chat. The group chat is wonderful. Every guy has a nickname, because you meet so many like, oh, I'm John, I'm Mark, I'm this. Like, no one's remembering their friends so-and-so's. It's like you get a nickname based off of your occupation.
It's usually like something guy, right?
Something guy.
Yeah,
like
dog guy, whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. I met this dude at the park with the dog. He's dog guy. I met this dude here. He's this guy, or his job is this. So this is his nickname. So, and like, it's a group chat with a bunch of girls, and girls get hit on all the time. So there's lots of guys in this group chat, but it's like the ones that stick. The cool guy who truly like took the hint, who's like playing it cool, he makes it. And he'll probably make it to boyfriend. Like he'll get into the group chat. The friends know him. Then the friends ask about him. Cause like, I know personally I'm a slow burn, and I know my friends are slow burn. Cause it's, when you're a girl and you get into a relationship, I think it's like a big deal. Your roster, your options, like you're choosing something for yourself. I can't speak on behalf of boys, but I know for like a girl, it's like, if you like a guy enough to be your boyfriend, it's like you really like him. Yeah. And you're like considering him for the future. And
you've talked about him,
Oh, he's talked about
everyone, all your friends.
Oh, like to all the guys, you are dating her and her friends. You really are.
Yeah.
You're in the group chat. The group chat knows everything. But it's honestly a compliment, because if you make it to the group chat and your friends know who you are, like, I'm wasting energy on you.
Yeah.
Not wasting.
You're investing.
I'm investing energy into you. I like you. And for a person who can like date whoever they want, in the sense of like, you're pretty, you have things going for you. It's like, it's really nice, because it's like, oh, he's cool. He made it. Like you get put in this different category of man, and like not beta energy. Like you're given the good energy, but you're not egotistical. You're giving the boyfriend vibes, but you're not too simpy. Like they are like, if you make it, guys, if you're like in the group chat like that, like you're doing all the things right. And just, it'll take the right girl to like be the girlfriend, boyfriend, but like your game is on point.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. We love on point games.
What's next?
3-in-1 shampoo. We need to address this. Don't wash your hair with the soap you wash your balls with. No one wants that. And if we see it in the shower, it's giving child.
Yeah.
Have some fucking shampoo and body wash. It's not that hard. They're in the same aisle.
Yeah.
Like,
and that goes into like a lack of attention to detail and grooming and hygiene, right?
Oh, whoa. Hygiene. I know personally, like, I haven't spoken to one girl who hasn't, when the first conversation, like telling your friends about a guy, oh, I met him, whatever, your hygiene comes up right away. Yeah. Don't let your beard get scruffy, like on the neck. Gross. Have fresh, crisp, white teeth, because that means you take care of your mouth. Don't have puffy gums. Like, just get it together. Like, smell good always. Buy cologne. Like,
and don't shower in it.
Don't shower in it. Don't be that creepy old foreign dude who's just like loaded in the cologne that's like disgusting. Don't choke me, but smell good.
Yeah.
Go to Bloomie's, go to Nordstrom, go get a yummy cologne, and just, your cologne is going to take you further. Like, the girl's going to be attracted to the way that you smell. And if you're cool and you're funny, there you go.
I mean, the hygiene stuff is such an automatic disqualifier. And so many guys don't realize that there's like one little thing, but that one little thing fucks them
so hard
all the time, and they can go years without like knowing this, and it's brutal.
You can be so attractive and cool. No.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, how do you tell somebody, oh my gosh, your teeth are so bad?
Yeah.
And if you have all this money and you're trying to date whoever, get your teeth done.
Yeah.
Go get your fucking teeth done. But brush them. Make sure you're brushing them. Brush your tongue too. No one wants a white tongue. Like all these things, just like do the thing. But girls notice right off the bat. Like,
yeah.
I've noticed the first thing I'm doing is reading you and picking you apart and trying to figure out your hygiene situation. Long nails is on here. Don't have long nails.
Mm-hmm.
Just take care of yourself. Like if you're dating somebody, like your hygiene becomes my hygiene because we're like intermingled with each other. And like that is disgusting to have bad hygiene.
Yeah.
You know, I take care of myself. Take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah, that's really bad.
Anything else on the list we should go through?
I think that we need to, let's see. I think, well, to go back to I have bartender on here. I think it goes back to promoter.
Right.
Promoter and bartender are in the same, it's like the same job.
Right.
Like you don't do it.
Bottom of the barrel social status, but in the scene, you know, definitely gets laid.
It's so weird. These guys get laid so they think they're like pulling and they think they're fucking. And I'm like, no, you just pulled this sad girl at the bar.
Yeah.
Like you're not like pulling because like she's hot and you're going to impress her. Like you're a bartender.
They're pulling like the girls who don't get it. Like the girls who are fresh to the scene, totally new, right? Like the newbies, basically.
The newbies, the girls who don't get it, yeah, 100%.
What's your sort of like propensity to use online dating versus meet guys, you know, through, you know, in-person stuff, social circle stuff? How often are you going on like online dates?
I think there's a stereotype of online dating, but I personally feel like no shame in it. It's 2024.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on my phone. I'm going to dude shop on Hinge. I'm going to do whatever. That's what we call it. Group chat.
Right.
Dude shop. You get to just meet so many more people that you would potentially meet. Also, I think online is cool in a sense. I think it's better for guys because the girls are going to get hit on no matter what. Like everyone's going to like your profile, of course. In person, they're going to want to come up and talk to you. But I think it has an advantage for the boys because you don't have to do that awkward, like pickup line to pick me up. Like I've already liked your profile. Like you automatically just put yourself in a different rank of like, I'm going to give you my attention for a second. Now, whether you keep that, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Do you funnel guys from like the apps to Instagram, or do you do you try to go on dates with those guys, or you just kind of follow their lead? Do you do social stuff with them? How does that progression work for you?
If it's like if it's like a guy from, I've really like only had Hinge. I'm just going to use Hinge, or like Bumble sucks.
Yeah.
Bumble.
Hinge is the only game in town.
Yeah. It's the only game. Bumble to me is a bunch of betas because it's like the girl's supposed to make the first move, like hit on me.
Right.
Duh.
And Tinder is
like only for fuck. Like I'm not going to go on Tinder. Like, no, thank you. I could go to the bar and meet a bartender if I needed to do that, you know? So I personally think it's really empowering, like just to be like it's in my control. I can date whoever I want. I can post whatever pictures I want. You can set your own age range. Like you can truly do whatever you want. So I personally like dating on there. And then if you meet in person, wonderful. Like you got out of the app, like you made it out of the group chat. Congratulations. I think that like dating people in a social circle is kind of tricky because I think obligation lies there, where if you meet somebody on Hinge or an app and you have like no mutuals, you don't owe them anything, vice versa. I don't owe you a second date. I don't have to do it out of kindness. I don't have to do it because like he really likes you and you're the friend's friend. Like I actually don't like that.
Yeah.
Like I want to have, if we don't talk again, I want there to be no ties.
When you were in the more like scene party phase, were you doing any online dating?
I mean, I think that I wasn't necessarily like on Hinge. I don't think Hinge was like as poppin' as it is now. Like everyone has a Hinge now.
Yeah.
It's like, and people who are like, oh, I don't use Hinge. It's like, you're fucking lying.
Right.
You're such a liar.
You got a profile, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The social circle was just so big and you're just like meeting people. Well, you think it's big.
Right.
You think it's big.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, I have so many options. And it's like, no, actually, like you date one guy in the group and
right. So it provides the other optionality if you don't want to have like such a public within the small group.
Yeah, because then everyone's gonna know. Like, so you just like want to go on a date and like talk about something that's not your friend group.
Yeah,
go on an online date. Why not? And I think you learn a lot about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dating is wonderful because you learn about what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah. So what about guys sliding into your DMs?
Oh,
do you take that
my God.
The same sort of? How does that like basically occur to you versus a guy that you matched with on Hinge or something?
If I match with you on Hinge, please slide in.
Okay.
If it's on Instagram, I guess it's like your only way, but like I hate it. I truly don't like it. I'm like, it's giving desperate. The DM, it's just like, why?
I mean, clients always ask me like, what can I DM this random girl about? I'm like, dude, you're
honestly, if you're like a random,
unless you're like a celebrity or something like that. And even then the girl's like, why is this guy DMing me?
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like if you're truly a random, you're probably going to go into my like requested or hiddens anyways. And you're probably going to get like blocked. Like every once in a while I'll go through it. And I'm just like, creep. No, thank you. Like if you don't know me enough at all, you're just like randomly following me on Instagram. Like that's not going to work out for you. Like now I'm just like, who's this weird stranger? But where I'm now in a social situation on an app, like a dating app, where it's like, that's what we're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then most of the time, like a lot of people match and then no one really makes it out of there because it's like 4 exchanges and you're like, you did something that icked me. Or
right.
Like, you try to flex or like you sent the Instagram too quick.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You just like want to stalk my photos, make sure I'm hot enough for you. Goodbye.
So many booby traps.
Yeah. So many booby traps.
So it's a progression like, 6 to 7 back and forth. Maybe more, maybe,
Oh yeah.
And then Instagram and then the date, or phone number, stay off Instagram, then the date.
I would rather if we're on Hinge, I'd rather you get my phone number.
Okay.
Not go to the Instagram.
And just text you.
Yeah. Just text
green
me.
Bubble
we're
is,
adult. Oh, the green bubble is disgusting.
I love this.
It's giving poverty. Stop. And then it's like, this is a big mistake.
But my Android can do so much stuff.
Your Android can't. And your Android can never text me the way I want to interact with you texting. So go get your iPhone.
I have to fight tooth and nail with the guys because I typically work with like programmers, software guys, and they're all like, the Android is so much better for work and this and that. And I'm like, it's gonna cock block you. I don't know.
Have that as your work phone.
Right. Have 2.
I love when they have 2 phones. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Have 2 phones.
Don't text me with the goddamn green bubble.
I'm upset.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it delivered.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that's a good place to leave off for now. We should definitely keep going at some point because this is awesome.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for coming on and like, showing the guys behind the curtain of what it's like to be a beautiful girl and have this attention and being in the dating game and in the scene. So
yes, thank you for having me. It was so fun.
Yeah, this is great. All right, guys, have a good one.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're a regular listener and you're digging our content, do me a favor, leave us a 5-star review. It's how other people learn about the show and how we can spread the word. If you don't feel like it's worthy of 5 stars, just go ahead, don't leave any review at all. And I want to let you know that we've opened up a few slots in our exclusive community. We're accepting applications to join our select group of men and experience the radical power of accountability, step up your game, cross everything off your sexual bucket list, and become a beast at accomplishing all of your goals. To learn more and apply, go to innerconfidence.com/community.